Hello and welcome to another edition of the Photo Diary. So today we've got quite a few images to look at. It's probably the longest video so far of the season. But yeah, just going to be going through, there's quite a different variety of images, and I think for the first time it's going to be some cityscape ones, which I think is going to be really cool. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy.
The reason why I took this photo is there's a car park I tend to park at, of course, the car park, and I think to be honest, like I've been parking in this car park for a while, a few years, but I think ever since I started started doing photography, or trying to do photography, I guess I've just kind of started looking at things in a slightly different way, or trying to look at things a slightly different way. And I feel like some things I maybe would not even have looked at, or even thought to even take a picture of. And the reason why I really like this one is the kind of light near the foreground, but then you can see it kind of continues going down, further down in the image, so it kind of draws your eye going down and further down towards the bottom of the image. And the other two, to be fair, not as good. So I think this one is probably the best one out of the ones I took, because I just feel, yeah, just looking at it, I just feel it I guess kind of, it's even also just kind of like a little triangle, right? You've got the larger end of the triangle at the bottom, or I guess the bottom bit of the triangle, and then you can see it kind of gets shorter and shorter as it gets to the bottom of the image, and I really liked that effect. And I think it also kind of looked, I don't want to say cyberpunky, because there's not a lot of like other types of different colored lights in this, but I really liked it, and that's why I took it, because I thought it evoked something in me, the need to, or the want to take a photo.
Okay, so let's go to batch number 2. So this is probably my second favorite batch of images. So this was basically was in King's Cross, waiting for my train, and decided to take some photos near Coles Drop Yard. Is it Coles Drop Yard or Coles Drops Yard? Can't remember. But anyway. The photos I took, yeah, so I guess we can start with this one. Is this my favorite one? We'll go with this. I just really like the way the sun was basically shining on the building in front. So I think this is like when you just straight come out of St. Pancras International and you're heading towards, I think on your right is like King's Cross, and on your left or directly in front of you, there's like a path that leads to some of the buildings, and I think also the Google building. But anyway, that's like I'm like diving into too much. The actual building in front, once you walk down that little path, basically you can see some of these images. You can see that basically it just has like a really nice glow. I think this is the new building that they've been building. I don't know if it's actually finished yet, but it just looks really nice, right? That's why I picked it. I was like, you know what, let me take some photos of this. I think this is probably my favorite one, because it's got quite a soft glow, with the sun coming in from behind, and of course you've got some of the reflections at the bottom of some of the buildings surrounding, and then at the top you can see, I think you can see they've probably got like a little garden area at the top, and I really think that's really, I don't know, just looks really nice. I don't actually know what this building is going to become once they actually finish it. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. But anyway, that's this little building. If I move on to, yeah, so basically as you're walking down and you walk towards Cole's Drop, I'm just going to say Cole's Drop Yard instead of Cole's Drops Yard. This is the other image that I captured. I really liked the way it looks really soft, I guess, because at this point the sun was pretty much almost gone, and you know, we're heading towards a busy area, so you can see there's quite a few people in front of you, but in this particular path it was just me, and there's the restaurant on the left hand side. It's kind of in the shadow. You've got this really lovely green plant there and some greenery on the right. Yeah, I just thought it was just a really soft image, and I thought it looked really nice. And then of course, just the ground. I don't know, texture looked interesting. It might not actually be an interesting photo to look at, so we'll just keep going. And then I've got these two, which I think I prefer this photo, the one that's a bit closer to the actual image itself. Closer to the actual image itself. Wow. Closer to the building is what I meant to say. So the one that's a bit further away, you can see, I guess there's just a lot more distracting things in the photo. You've got the actual building I was interested in, you've got the building next to it, and then there's this one in the foreground, which has these like two TO letters and something else underneath, but I don't think that one is as good as this one. I think this one is the one I actually really like. There's not as much distracting stuff in the photo. You've got something in the top left there, but the reflection and the light on the windows of the building look really nice. Of course, you've got the actual lights inside the building, which makes it look, I don't know, like it's got a bit of depth in the image, because you can see they kind of like, especially like towards this bottom side here, bottom left hand side, kind of just go away, like go further away from, I guess, us the viewers as they're going. And then yeah, like I was saying, there's still some distractions or things that kind of draw away from the building, because the building's the thing I was interested in on this bottom right hand side, but not as much as the other one, basically. I think that's it for batch 2, right? Yes. Yeah, so anyway, out of all of these, I would probably say my favorite is either this one, which is a nice soft one, or this one, because it's also a nice soft one. But yeah. So this is now batch 3. Excuse my messy folders on the left, but this is, funnily enough, my third favorite batch of images, I would say, from this diary. This was basically these are all taken on one walk towards, I think, actually no, it might have been 2 walks. It might have been one towards like midday, and then the other one towards the end of the day, towards golden hour. So basically, as I said before, like there's a lot of flowers or plants that are starting to flower now, and I really liked these two, just because of the way, I guess, the flowers are like this really bright white flowers on this really green lush background. Yeah, I just like the contrast between those two. And then I've got these next set is basically towards the end of the day. This is a laurel, which is I don't know if anyone is interested anyway in what the actual plant is, but yeah, this particular one on the left is a laurel. Really lush green leaves, and I think the way that the sun was shining on them is just really soft, makes it really soft. Soft seems to be like the key word today, but I just really like the way it looked in terms of how the sun was actually shining on it, making it look like these golden highlights, golden highlights. And then you've got, I don't really know what the plant on the right is, but yeah, the way that the sun was just shining on these green seems to be the color in this batch, and I really like that. And then the next was a walk through some small woods, and I just really like the way that, once again, because it's golden hour, the sun was kind of filtering through each of these trees, and the way that it makes it look like, I don't know, like they're kind of painted. Maybe that's an over exaggeration, but it's quite dark. Okay, maybe this is the better way of saying it. It's quite dark on the lower bit of the photo, but as you go up, as you move up on the photo, it becomes like, I guess, like quite light, especially with the background with the clouds or the sky. But the actual trees themselves have a mixture of dark bits and really light bits, and I just thought it looked really nice. You've got a lot of the foliage at the bottom. You probably can't see it, to be honest, but it just, yeah, thought it looked really good. And then with this one, I tried to kind of play around a bit with putting, I guess, things in front of the actual subject. So of course the subject in this case is the green foliage with the yellow flowers at the bottom. This is like a little bridge, a little walking bridge, and then you've got the actual bridge in the foreground, but it's kind of blurred out. So we're kind of peeking over, seeing what's below, right? And it's these really lovely flowers. Or this plant, I don't even know what the plant is, but I just thought it looked really nice. And then the next one is those same ones, which is maybe interesting how, maybe it's how I edited them. But in this one, of course, the first image, they look yellow. Maybe this is a different flower, actually. This might be a completely different flower. But here they look more like orangey yellow. Would you say that's yellow? Yes, it's orangey yellow. And you've got these purple vines and this green plants, this green leaves. Looks really interesting. The yellow really pops. The orange yellow really pops. So I really like that. I think that's all of the photos from this batch, actually. Yeah. So yeah, overall, I think green is the theme here. A lot of green, a lot of light. Whether that's midday or, I say a lot of light, some of the ones don't actually have a lot of light, but green and yellow is probably the color, a bit of white. But yeah, that's batch 3. Let's talk about batch 4. Batch 4 is my favorite from this photo diary. This has, I think, 2 images that I really love the most. Is it 2 or is it 3? Let's just say 2. And what I really like about these images is they're just really interesting to look at. I think this was the first time in the photo diary I was taking photos of buildings in the photo diary, because I think the previous 2 have been mainly like plants and woods and whatnot. But yeah, this batch from this photo diary was really cool. So this is Leeds city center. So this is near the actual Leeds train station. Once again, I think this was kind of towards the end of the day-ish. There's 2 photos that I took of this building. So 1, 2. I can't decide which one I actually prefer. I think the darker one maybe has more interesting textures or interesting colors, because it's a bit darker, so there's a lot more contrast between the blue of the building and these dark circles on the left hand side. And then of course I think it kind of draws more of your attention towards the left side of the photo rather than the right, because of course on the right there's other buildings which also have interesting shapes and colors, but on the brighter one, which I think is more washed out, I would say, maybe I put a bit too much, I raised my ISO on the camera a bit too much, but you can see I think this one is a flatter image, so And I don't necessarily hate that either. Weirdly, I think I don't mind it because it's kind of a soft photo. Of course, yeah, I mean, the buildings in the background are completely washed out, but I don't mind this one. I do think the contrast on the second one, which is this one, does look slightly better, but I don't actually mind this one. And then if we move on to, I think this is one of, let me just double check. Yes, this is one of my favorite. I just think there's a lot of interesting things going on in this image. I can't really, let's try to break it down. So of course, on the ground level, you've got a lot of these people walking, going about their day. In the midsection, you of course start to see, some of the buildings and the different types of glass and stuff that they have, reflecting the light. And then these two buildings, so the one that's dead straight on and the one that's on the left, I just thought had really nice textures, especially in the light that was coming in. So I don't know, it almost feels like, especially the middle one here, almost doesn't look kind of real, I guess, to me. The one on the left also looks quite bright, and has a nice like shadow that's like, the one of the parts of the building is casting a little bit of a shadow on the left part, and I just thought it looked really nice. And I think, yeah, that building, I think for me what takes it is the building in the middle, because I think that's where my eyes were drawn to. There's a lot of glass on the right, of course, with the other buildings, but I think because of the way that middle building looks, it looks quite interesting. And I think I managed to kind of not draw too much attention to the bottom. I mean, you can disagree, but I felt like I managed to kind of make the bottom not as interesting to look at as much as the actual middle section and the top section of the building, with the sky being quite bright. And then I managed to take a photo of that building on the left, but this time getting rid of that building that was in the middle, and kind of making this building the star of the photo, I guess. But it's kind of the same thing again, where the lower half, or the bottom bit of the photo doesn't have too much going on. It does have a little bit of interesting things, like the random hole in the building there, actually just looking at it now. It's probably just like, I don't know, parking or something. But then the actual texture of the building itself, I think there's two of them. Yeah, so there's two photos. So I think I prefer this one. Unsure which one I prefer, but either way, the building itself looks, it looks like it's got like this really cool stone texture to it, and the way that the light kind of shines on it gives it a nice texture. I think that's what I feel. Of course, one image is slightly brighter than the other, but I do just think in general they look quite nice. Okay, and then I did take one more. I think this one is maybe slightly too washed out, maybe. And I think actually just looking at the bottom, maybe slightly blurry as well. I'm not sure. But this was the first, yeah, like I was saying, this is the first time I was actually taking photos of buildings, and playing around with ISO on my camera, and learning just a bit more about ISO and how that actually affects what the image looks like. But I do think, yeah, I think going back, this is probably my favorite one, the one that has that building in the middle. It just looks cool to me. I don't know. That's just me. But yes, that's batch 4. And I think that basically finishes this edition of the photo diary. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that and found it interesting. I tried to do it slightly different from the previous weeks, because I just kind of, I guess, try to make it a bit more casual, because the first 2 parts I was like proper sitting down, getting all the mics and all of that. But this time I was like, okay, let me try doing some of the things differently. And by that I mean as in just kind of going through the photos on my phone and talking about them. That way I'm not necessarily using the video itself that I'm making to dictate what images I'm looking at, but actually the actual images on my phone so I can talk about them. Hopefully a bit more relaxed. I might have blabbered a bit more than usual, but yeah, anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Don't forget to like and subscribe, of course, if you actually like this type of content. And yeah, I'll see you in the next photo diary or whatever video comes before that. Thanks again.